This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
What is the sound of one hand clapping? What is the sound of one fist punching? What is the sound of the IronCast? Greetings, dear students, and welcome once again to your journey into the esoteric and the guide to enlightenment, known as the IronCast. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. With me, as always, is my svelte, financially stable friend.
It's Mozz.
Hey, Mozz. So glad you're here, as always. Tonight's episode, Season 2, Episode 5. There's a new Iron Fist in town. He's itching to make his presence felt. Meanwhile, Ward calls in a favor, and Joy considers her options. Episode title is Heart of the Dragon. Our director is Marazi Elmas. Roy Thomas and Gil Kane, of course, get their created by credits for the comic characters. Over here we have our Declan Debarra gets our written by credit. Matthew White and Tatiana Suarez Pico again are the story editor or the executive story editors, with Jenny Lynn probably doing all the work. So we open up with Davos's Iron Fist smashing through a bunch of rocks.
Yeah.
And Yeah, well, you gotta know how this thing works. You don't want to go utilize it before you know what you're doing. But it's very telling, I think, here that his fist is glowing red, not yellow. As we had previously discussed, there are certain things about Davos's acquisition of the Iron Fist that don't ring true to what we have seen so far. The red color certainly is a giveaway. But we also mentioned the fact that the dragon on both Danny's chest and all other Iron Fist's chest is not a tattoo. It is a burned-in scar from facing off against Xiao the Undying. Now, of course, Davos has received a tattoo, but like I said, I don't think that just getting that tattoo is going to be enough to make that power a constant aspect for him. And now that he has the power, we do see him going out and trying, one imagines, to be like Danny was, to try and fill Danny's shoes, to be the protector of the city, since neither can ever protect Kunlun again. And he beats up and possibly straight up murders a couple of golden tigers who were extorting money from a guy. And then he goes and beats up a bunch of people at the Golden Tigers nightclub. And again, like I said, straight up murders them.
Because he has the strength to do what Danny couldn't.
Well,
and he'll never make that mistake again of being too reserved or care too much about, quote unquote, the enemy.
Well, and of course, as we were discussing last week, there is this quality of Davos's backstory where his mom had a very real obsession, you may say, with the power of the Iron Fist.
She seems like she was making a political play.
Yeah.
And she had been playing the long game for a while, and it didn't pan out.
Part of me thinks that, but then part of me also just wonders if this is just your typical you know, not to be kind of stereotypical here, but your typical tiger mom attitude, you know, that she is of the mindset that it is not enough for her son to be a great martial artist if he needs to be the Iron Fist. That, you know, he needs to ascend beyond where he's at, because well, if you think about it, that's like the only status you could get in a city like Kunlun. You know,
Right.
Kunlun is a city of monks essentially. You know, so it's not like anyone, you know, is going to be impressed that you're anyone there. But the one thing that would be impressive is if your child were the Iron Fist. You know,
Right.
And of course, in this episode, we do get these flashbacks to how Davos dealt with that pressure, because we do see we see a flashback to him and Danny when they were both young men, and you know, Danny is essentially not down with killing, not down with the Iron Fist having to kill people, because Danny believes in the good of humanity and feels that even if you have come to the set of villainy, you maybe could still do good in this world. At least that's the explanation that one could generate from that.
Right.
By contrast, Davos has just been raised, seemingly from birth, to be ready to, you know, murder whoever gets in his way.
Right.
You know, which is not necessarily a good teaching for a young man to have.
Mm.
You know, I think there's a strong argument on that. But we do see that Davos's inability to win the Iron Fist, you know, expressly not because he yielded, but because the ref called the match right. Without a death, because he just felt that, you know, whatever this was, it's not what we were shooting for. And you know, we do have Davos try to reach out to his mom before he comes to track down Danny. Another thing he failed at. We do see them through the door, and you realize, at least I feel, that the mother is kind of, for the first time, having a real emotional epiphany about how she treats the world around her and how she wishes to be treated. But at the same time, she is also already in the middle of her you know, feelings of pride and anger at Davos losing the Iron Fist.
I think there's got to be a little piece of her that's got to know what Davos is, the evil that lives in him, and she's got to know the responsibility and the hand she had in that, and there must be a tremendous amount of guilt. That's what I saw in that scene. She's like, oh my God, I've created a monster. Am I a monster?
Really? See, I guess my take on it is kind of the opposite. I don't think that I think in her heart of hearts, she thinks she was right. You know, that if my son was to be the Iron Fist, you know, he has to be willing to be the Iron Fist.
Right. I feel like she views it as a gamble. It could have been great. All that pressure could have created a diamond, or it could have gone south and created exactly as strong a force aimed in the other direction, being evil, you know?
Yeah.
And she realizes that gamble paid off in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of ways to interpret, because we really don't get don't get anything from that. You know, we get, because it is a silent scene for her. You know, Davos does all the talking, and you can see that essentially, you know, one thing that you can certainly say from this is that, you know, their relationship is now very much estranged, because the one thing that had always united them was the idea that they were working towards this Iron Fist. And now that that is no longer their cause to be, how do they redefine this relationship?
Right.
And I don't think either of them really knows how they can redefine that relationship.
It's funny. Danny is going through that same thing where he doesn't think he has the Iron Fist anymore, so he has to go find out, who am I? You know, I need to be someone strong before I can be the Iron Fist. I need to have an identity of my own before that. But do I have that? Who knows?
Well, I mean, I think that is very much what we're trying to get to the bottom of in this. You know? So we have Mindy and not Mindy.
Mary.
No, actually, I was going to say Joy and Misty. Gosh, man,
yes.
It's getting late for me. I'm sorry. We got Misty and Colleen in the car, and we get a code 616 come through. Which is a great Easter egg for Marvel fans because of course and they try to stick a 616 in these all the time. And now we know that a 616 is the code for a possible superhuman criminal.
Right.
And of course, you know, like I said, that is the name of the universe in which the mainstream Marvel universe exists. And so anytime they throw in a 616, it's like the A1 11-3 of so many other films, you know. But the 616 is something that Marvel tries to shoehorn in wherever they can. So I was happy to see that, and especially that it somehow relates to the existence of superhumans is also a good quality to it. You know, they go to this scene, of course, and they realize that this is crazy, and you know they hear the statement that the light was orange or red in the guy's fist, and you know, of course,
Iron Fist is orange or yellow.
Yeah, well, it's yellow. Yeah, so they know that it's not. They know that it wasn't Danny, but now they have no idea who it could have been.
Well, Misty still thinks it's Danny, I imagine.
Oh, you think Misty thinks it's Danny that
It's got to be. I mean, like, she's got to think, okay, Danny's going off the rails or something. It's like, who else could it be?
Well, I mean, not for nothing, it could be her boyfriend up north, you know. You know, it's not like there aren't other superhumans in the New York metropolitan area, so.
That's fair.
You know, I think assuming that it's Rhino committing some kind of fraud is unlikely. But that's my take on it, one way or the other. Sorry. So we see that Danny has been let go, and he sort of wanders around and gets picked up, as luck would have it, by the gang of toughs from the first episode, who Colleen spoke with, you know, previously while she was trying to track down the diary of a lost patriarch of her clan, and where was I going with this? Sorry.
So they have a plan to sort of sell Danny over to the Golden Tigers because they think that'll be of some value.
Well, yeah, that is essentially what happens here. So Danny wanders out and gets picked up by this gang led by Rhino, and they hold him essentially hostage. And we do see Danny realizing that he does not have access to the Iron Fist here in a very unfortunate way, which is that he slams his hand down on the iron chain that he is bonded to, which of course he's not going to break with just his iron hand, or just his fleshy, bony hand.
I know the funny part about all this is even without an Iron Fist, there's, you know, videos all over YouTube of these monks breaking bricks and like bending metal with their shins and fists. So I feel like, I know he's in a weakened state, but I don't think it should have hurt him that bad. Maybe it's just the shock of it all. But
well, I mean, if he was expecting to go through it, you know, Bill Cosby has an old bit about a friend of his who's a karate expert, you know, and he used to say, you know, the trick to breaking a board or breaking a stick or a brick is you don't look at it, you look just past it, because you're not thinking about your hand hitting it, you're thinking about your hand moving through it. And I kind of feel that is, but you know, there's this side story to that where, as he's telling you that you know that worked well for the guy until the one day the guy's thinking, my hand is through the rock already, and the rock was like, no, it's not. You know, and that is where Danny is here. He was thinking through the chain, and the chain was like, nope. I am a chain of cast iron, buddy. You are not doing nothing to me.
Right.
But we do see that as it progresses, Denny is able to pull on the heartstrings of one of the gang members who calls Misty. And then, of course, as serendipity the sea serpent might say, what a coincidence, um, they find the knockout drug that they have specially made for this. Man, am I getting lost here? Um, no,
What
that's
knockout drug?
yeah. I'm completely lost on where I'm thinking. I'm sorry. Don't mind me. I'm losing my train of thought here. Mozz, take over.
So Colleen gets I'm assuming gets the call from the young kid that she seems to
Yes.
know in that gang, and they end up running into and saving Danny.
Yes.
Misty shows up with the badge, says NYPD, get the hell out of Dodge, otherwise I'm going to have to arrest you. And the kid's more than happy to oblige,
Well,
and they walk out of there with
Yeah.
their iron fist.
yeah, not more than happy. Actually, kind of very, very slow on that, and for whatever reason, trying to, act
Yeah,
like
well, maybe what I meant was they should be happy that they're walking out of there not getting arrested.
exactly, yeah,
Or shot. That's the one thing that surprises me about the show, that the NYPD is really careful about shooting people.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, it is Misty, and she is probably a better
That's
cop
true.
when it comes to that. Although I kind of got the feeling she was like, "What part of NYPD don't you
Right.
understand?" It's like,
Right.
you really
We
think
shoot
I'm
people.
not going to shoot you? We are the NYPD. You are standing there with a weapon above a man trying to cut his fingers off. You are not getting out of this without getting shot if you continue on what you're doing. Because that is for once a really righteous kill here.
Right. And all they wanted was $500.
Yeah, they. I guess they don't realize that it's really Danny Rand of the Rand Corporation.
Right. Oh, you work at a furniture moving company because you got all this money. I love that. That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
It just goes to show you, it always comes back and bites you in the butt.
Right.
But one of the things I liked about this is they don't get Claire.
Right.
In fact, Misty asks, "Should I get Claire?" And they're like, "No. Rand should have a private physician," which is an interesting take on it, which is that they don't even know if Rand has a private physician, and as it turns out, they don't. But for whatever reason, they have decided not to bring in Claire this show, and I don't know what went on with the actress's contract, but I do get the feeling like there was this decision to pull her out of the series halfway through Luke Cage.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so yeah, and so Ward calls his sponsor or his former sponsor, who is an anesthesiologist, and she's like, "I'm an anesthesiologist. This is way beyond the kind of stuff I do. Get him to a doctor." I mean, she does her best, but she basically says, if his fever spikes, call 911. Take care of this. He is in a very bad way. And that is a I mean, it's good that they get through that. But they start to sort of triage what's going on, and Ward is like really shocked to find out that Davos is the one killing people, because as far as he knew, he was just his sister's latest fling.
Right.
And I really like the conversation we get at the end of this with Danny.
With everybody?
Well, I was going to say with Danny and Ward.
Oh, yeah.
Ward saying that he's seen that same dragon.
Yeah.
Basically comparing the anger and the passion of the Iron Fist to addiction.
Right.
Which I think is actually one of the things that we're looking at here, because of course we saw prior to this that Danny was having maybe issue with controlling his rage, controlling the fire within him. And of course, with Davos, there is no desire to control it.
Right.
You know, Davos as a vessel is purely one seeking to kill.
Yeah.
Which again goes to that idea that maybe that is why he was not selected for the Iron Fist. You know, I think that really the more you think about it, the more it breaks down that, you know, there were a lot of people who could have been the Iron Fist, but only Danny Rand was the one who was truly worthy. And I think it does make a great dynamic between Davos's mother and Davos's father. That Davos's father is the one who says he is not worthy of the Iron Fist, because he could not show mercy, or, you know, because he was going to make his friend kill him in order to get the Iron Fist. And it's clear that, you know, Davos's father was of a very different mindset, I think, than his mother. You know, because I think it's entirely possible, A, that he did not want his actual begotten son to be the Iron Fist, because it's a very dangerous profession, obviously. And I think that, you know, at the same time, man, I'm losing it. At the same time, you know, his mother basically tied everything in her being to the idea that her son would be the Iron Fist.
Right.
You know, and when you put that much of yourself into that idea that I am not a person if my son is not the Iron Fist, that you're basically going to find yourself in a situation where you are going to be disappointed and you're going to have your whole world unraveled, because there was only going to be one Iron Fist ever. And, you know, quite frankly, you're missing the point of what it takes to be an Iron Fist. So, yeah. Anyway.
My favorite thing, though, was the confession with Joy at the very end. That was intense. Because she's caught in a rock and a hard place. She has to get rid of Davos. Davos is obviously turned on her at this point. Like that conversation she has with Davos when Davos is like, "You're not done until I say you're done." She's like, "All right, well, give me a moment to think about it." You know, that's that conversation that bad guys have when they realize, oh, we're enemies now.
Yes.
You know, let's start from scratch, but I'm officially, it's like declining the offer without declining the offer. And he's got to know it too, but keeping up appearances, he's got to walk away and be like, okay, now how am I going to play this?
Yeah, but
and with that on her head, she's got to come to terms with what she did and whether it was right or wrong. And watching Danny react to it, it was like, wow, that was intense.
Yeah. And of course she does get the video of the the ritual, but it's something that she can't really wrap her mind around, and it actually makes her realize that maybe she made that wrong mistake. We also see her reaching out, and this I thought was like the very interesting thing, is she reaches out to Mary for the protection, and she gives Mary the money, and then Mary walks away and leaves the money behind, which I thought was a neat touch to show the unique problems that Mary, as the person suffering from this dissociative identity, is going to have.
So wait, what? She left the money there?
Yeah, because she shows her the money, and I believe, then she goes back later after Mary leaves the first time, and she sees the money is still on the counter in the purse.
Oh, I thought. Yes, I was wondering why she came back the second time. I thought maybe she just didn't have the money then, and she came back the second time because maybe it takes someone a while to gather all that much paper currency for someone that's not used to using it, you know?
Yeah, no, and maybe I'm mistaken.
She had it there in the first scene?
I believe so, yeah, because she says, do you want to count it? And she's like, no, I accept it.
I thought that was during the second meeting that she said that.
Maybe. You know what? Maybe we're all getting confused. Like I said, it's getting late. We don't really get a resolution to any of our major stories here. We do see that basically Mary gets arrested along with Joy by Misty. And again, this great, breaking no nonsense quality for Misty here, where Colleen is trying to like talk to Joy through the door, and then Misty's like, "Bang bang, NYPD, open up."
Yeah.
And then they get we get a great fight scene with Mary.
Misty and Walker.
Yeah, Misty and Walker, and actually Colleen gets in on that too.
Yeah.
And Walker does hold her own, but they do eventually put the cuffs on her.
No, this is the girl that took out the Iron Fist,
Yeah, but you know what? Well, first off, it might have taken a lot out of her to take out the Iron Fist. Also,
she planned it.
Yeah. Well, she planned it, and Danny was pulling his punches.
Right. Of course.
That's the thing to always remember here is that, especially at the start of it, is Danny was sitting there unsure of what to do. Misty's not unsure of what to do.
Right.
And even Colleen's not really unsure of what to do. They know that they're aware now, and so their ability to take this woman down is she does not have the element of surprise, and she always had the element of surprise in previous situations, I'm sure. So yeah. So I thought that worked out nicely, and we already talked about Ward and the dragon and the Iron Fist. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to say for this episode?
I'm super interested to see how Danny's fragile little mind is going to handle this betrayal by Joy. And whether he delves deeper into the self-pity and allows that to guide him down a wrong path, or if he's just going to be the ultimate Boy Scout and forgiver and just be like, okay, everyone's back on the same page. We got to go kill Davos.
Yeah. Well, there's only 5 episodes left, so I'm sure they'll figure it out. Okay. Yeah. Mozz, how can people find you if they'd like to reach out and talk to you about all this?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our Mozz and Paz once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Cloak and Dagger and anything else that's really awesome that's coming back soon. At Charlie Esser. Get ready, Mozz. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle. For quality. Oh, as I fall asleep while I'm trying to teach you, my students, I give you my heartfelt apologies and say to you, as we walk the never-ending path of the Iron Fist, that is not a path to a door, but a road leading forever to the horizon, or at least 5 more episodes. Thank you, dear students, for joining us. Please connect with us again. Good night.